गुड इवनिंग एवरीवन। आज हमारे साथ हैं सीए लेख सूद जी, सीनियर सीए एट अवर प्लेटफॉर्म। मैं एजुकेटिंग और कासा की टीम की तरफ से सीए लेख सूद जी का स्वागत करती हूं अपने प्लेटफॉर्म पर और थोड़ा सा उनका एक ब्रीफ इंट्रोडक्शन देना चाहूंगी। He held various leadership role in finance, tax, controlling, and commercial domains in many reputed MNCs of US and Europe, like Philips, Fosaco, Vishay Intertechnology, Andres and Hauser, Jaffran, Shapurji Palonji Group. He has been actively involved in the compliance and litigation in the areas of indirect taxation. CA Lekhraj Sood ji is a member of Indirect Tax Committee of MCCIA, past chairman of Finance and Tax Panel of CII Marathwada, and is having exciting professional experience of over 3 decades in industry. He has authored many articles on GST, customs, excise, etc., and also led the full-fledged implementation of GST while he was in the industry. He also led the 4 members team that won National Management Games Championship at AIMA and represented India in Asian Championship held in Hong Kong. Thank you, sir, for accepting our invitation. और आज का टॉपिक जो सर लेने जा रहे हैं बहुत ही कम डिस्कस हुआ टॉपिक है, जीएसटी ऑन ट्रेवल्स एंड टूर ऑपरेटर्स। और इस सेक्टर में सबसे ज्यादा कंफ्यूजन है आज की डेट में भी जीएसटी में। आई होप कि सभी लोगों को ये आज कंफ्यूजन इसकी दूर हो जाएंगी। ओवर टू यू सर। थैंक यू।
Thank you, Ji, for introducing me so nicely. I am indeed honored to be talking from this very eminent platform of educating. So, very good evening to all the online participants. And we had some technical hitch here, so it took some time. So, we are really sorry for that inconvenience. I welcome you to this webinar, which is on travel and tour operator industry. So immediately we will now move to our topic. Before we embark on this topic today, let us have a little broader picture view. You know that all of us, why we are learning these rules and regulations of GST, is basically to protect the interest of our business, whether we are ourselves into business or we are advising the business as experts. So there are some objectives or topics, aims, which we should have in mind whenever we are going through any topic relating to GST, and we should see the impact of this on the business, because that is what is really the whole purpose of it. So I have listed down 4 major purposes, or you can say objectives, which we should aim to achieve. One is we have to see that whatever rules and regulations are applicable to the business, those rules and regulations are complied with. Second important is that we should ensure that there should not be any ITC loss. There should be proper availment of ITC. If any exemptions or concessions are available under GST, then we should ensure that we are taking the benefits of them rightly. Now, if the first and second objectives are not done properly, then there will be a consequence in terms of interest and penalty. Interest and penalty is, the cost to the business, and it is direct denting to our profitability and cash flow. So we have to ensure that the interest and penalty are at the minimum, if not nil. Now, this is a very important topic and it is going to gain much more significance as we go into the future. We have to see whether whether it is worth it to go for a litigation. We have to consider two major aspects on this. One is the amount involved in it, materiality wise, and second is the matter which we are having in hand. So, if our matter is strong and on principle, and the amount involved, it justifies to go for the litigation, then only we go. Otherwise, it has huge cost, and it takes a lot of time to get the results from the courts. So this was just basic whole purpose of we people talking about this GST. Now let us go to our topic. I intend to cover in this topic first a bit introduction about this industry. Then travel agents and tour operators. These are two different, you can say, the service providers. So in respect of each, we will see what is the legal meaning and scope of it. General meaning we understand, but what is the legal meaning? What are the registration requirements? What are the GST rates which are applicable in various situations? What will be the place of supply? Because in this industry, the place of supply plays a very important role in GST. Then the ITC availability or non-availability, and then we will see some important context which is there today is the supplies made through e-commerce operators, and at the end we will have some key points to just keep in mind. So first introduction, travel and tourism sector in India is playing a really very significant role, and it has grown at the rate of 6.75% annually, and it is contributing to about 9.2 to country's economy. It earns also good foreign exchange, and it is about 5% of the total national exports. You are witnessing there are a lot of online access portals where travel and tour business is being offered, and the contracts are entered into. This is something we are very concerned. All of us are concerned that COVID-19 pandemic, but this was I think, the most affected sector because of this pandemic. However, the government is also keeping focus and liberalizing the government rules and regulations on this to free this industry from inspectorage and uh, encourage the tourism infrastructure in India. So with this, the sector is definitely poised for a decent growth. Now let us come specific to our topic of travel agent. First, we will cover the travel agent. But these days, why I have written a pure travel agent is because these days the travel agent are also doing hotel booking. They are also arranging for visa, or they are also doing the sightseeing. So it has become, travel and tour has become a sort of a mixed scope these days. So that is why we are talking of only pure agent, what traditionally we have been understanding from this. The term travel agent is not defined under GST. However, you can see that in service tax era, the travel agent was defined. So let us look at that definition, because that would have definitely relevance to even under GST. Travel agent is a agent who provides services in connection with booking of passes for travel. So the purpose, the traveling from one place to another place, the booking of that is covered under the term travel agent. But in service tax, it did not include air travel agent and rail travel agent, because these were the specific separate service type which were separately defined under GST, under service tax. So in the travel agent, you will see in the GST, then it was only related to the road transport, or you can say the sea transport of passengers. A rail travel agent, naturally, it's a very commonly we can understand is providing any service connected with the booking of the passage for travel by rail, and similarly for the air travel agent. Now come to our GST, because that is where we have to see the definition of agent, travel agent. So as I told, travel agent is not defined under GST, but the agent is defined under GST. If we go to section 2, subsection 5 of CGST Act, then we see there the definition of agent, which means the person who is engaged in the supply of goods or services, or recipient of goods or services on behalf of others. That's a principle of such goods or services. So when the agent is doing the supply of service on behalf of other person, and that other person is called principal, then this person is called the agent. And further the scope is widened to include the broker, the commission agent, the auctioneer, or the other mercantile agent by whatever name is called. So basically, if somebody is doing the provision of service on behalf of the other person, then he is called the agent. These terms which are used in this definition, like broker or commission agent, they are not defined under GST law, but we can understand the meaning of it in common business parlance. So what is broker? Broker is the person who arranges the transaction between the buyer and the seller. So let us take a very visible example, which is of a property broker. So if somebody wants to take a property on rent, or somebody wants to sell a property, then he approaches the broker, and broker only finds the suitable person for the this person who has approached him, which is his customer, and then he charges for the commission. So he doesn't do anything. He is not connected with the supply. He is only arranging the buyer for the seller, or seller for the buyer. Commission agent, little deviation from the above, they are also actually involved in the actual supply of goods and services, but they also do on the commission basis and on the behalf of the principal. They don't do it in their own name. It is in the name of principal. They disclose the identity of the principal to the customer. Auctioneer, we understand it very well, is the person who conducts the auctions, and his purpose is also to sell the goods. But this is one method of selling, that is by conducting the auction. Mercantile agent is actually is more related with the supply of goods rather than the services, where like wholesalers and all, we can call them as a mercantile agent, and actually they have a increased scope in their service, where they bind the principal also for the purchase or sale of the goods. So now what is relevant for our travel agent definition? From this agent definition we can see is that this travel agent does the supply of service on behalf of the principal, and that principal in this case is normally the airline, or the railways, or you can say the bus transport, so, or hotels. So they do the supply of service based on the or in the name of the principal. They only get the commission. So from this we understand that what is the definition of travel agent? Means the person who does the booking on behalf of the other person and gets a commission for that. We will now look at the registration applicability to travel agent. Under section 22 of the CGST Act, you know that a person is liable for registration if his aggregate turnover is rupees 20 lakh or more, and rupees 10 lakh for a special category states in the financial year, when he is a provider of service. When he is a provider of only, when he is a supplier of only goods, then that limit is 40 lakhs. So we are concerned right now with the service. So the limit is 20 lakh. But this is not the answer. We will not get an answer only from this statement. If we look at the section 24, which talks of the compulsory registration. So in that section, in clause 7, it says that persons who supply goods or services on behalf of other taxable person. So means एक person है, let us say X, if he does the supply of service or goods on behalf of another taxable person, he should be the, means that principal should be the taxable person, then this aggregate turnover limit of threshold limit will not be applicable in the case of agent, and from the day one he will have to take the registration under GST. When we look at this provision, the clarification is also issued by the CBIC by its circular number 57, which was issued on 4th of September 2018. In that, the government clarified that registration is not required for all the agents. It is only required for C&F agent. C&F means clearing and forward agent, which normally deal with the goods, because that is what is clearing and forwarding we do. So अगर कोई agent clearing and forwarding on behalf of the principal करता है, तो उसी केस में जो है वो threshold limit applicable नहीं है. बाकी जो normal commission basis के ऊपर जो supply of service कर रहे agent, it is applicable for them. That means they are not compulsorily required to be registered under GST. इस सर्कुलर में एक यू कैन से प्रिंसिपल ले डाउन किया था कि if the agent is supplying the service as principal, then that limit of 20 lakh will be applicable to him. That means after 20 lakh only he needs to get the registration. लेकिन अगर he is supplying as the agent of the principal, then he will have to compulsory get registered as agent under section 24, and this threshold limit will not be applicable. But as it happens many times, the story did not end here. The CBIC issued another corrigendum on 5th of November 2018, stating that the requirement of compulsory registration for commission agents under the said clause shall arise when both the following conditions are satisfied. That means the principal should be taxable person and the supplier made the that agent should be taxable. The supply which he is making, that should be the taxable. So if supply is taxable and the principal is taxable, then the agent will automatically be taxable and required to get the registration on compulsory or mandatory basis. So if you see, this is just that they have reproduced here in this corrigendum what is the provision under clause 7. So this is not in fact the corrigendum, but it actually changing the interpretation which was given in the original circular. So, but after that there is no clarification. So this you can say the confusion still pertain. So if you ask me, in my opinion, when the travel agent is supplying the service as principal, means suppose he is using the ticket in his name and the invoice is issued in the name of the principal, means if it is issued in the name of the airline, then the threshold limit of 20 lakh will be applicable to him. But he is only doing on commission basis, then this limit will not apply to him and he will have to get compulsorily registered. And this view is also supported by the advance ruling of Delhi Advanced Ruling Authority in the case of TUI India Private Limited. So इस case में भी the agent was doing the supply of service only as agent and not as principal. So if he was not doing it as principal, that means the invoice which was issued was only for the commission, then he is only acting as an agent, and in that case he will have to get compulsorily registered. So this is a bit situation which is not clear in respect of registration, but the actually the final interpretation could be that if he is supplying in the capacity of agent and not in the capacity of the principal, then the provisions of compulsory registration will apply. Otherwise, these provisions will not apply. Now we come to the GST rates which are applicable to travel agent. In GST, there are two options available to the travel agent for the purpose of applying the GST rates. One is the commission model and other is the basic fare model. Basic fare model is basically only for the airline booking. So in the commission model, when the customer comes to the travel agent for doing the booking from one place to another place by air, then he is the customer of the travel agent. On the other side, the travel agent also gets the commission from the airlines. So for airlines, the travel agent also raises the commission invoice. So in this commission model, he raises basically two tax invoices. One is on the customer and the other is on the airlines. And then when he raises such an invoice, he has to charge 18% GST, and that will be with ITC. So he will be able to avail the ITC. जो second option available है travel agent के पास, that is the basic fare model, in which the rate applicable is 0.9% in case of domestic booking and 1.8% in case of international booking. So इसमें भी, if you say the value which is taken for the taxable value which is taken for the purpose of supply is the 5% in case of domestic booking and 10% in case of the international booking. So agar within India, if a traveler wants to travel, then the fare will be, the GST which will be charged to him will be 0.9%. And if he wants to travel from, let us say, India to Dubai, then the rate applicable of GST will be 1.8% on the basic fare. So what is this basic fare is defined in GST is the fare or is the value on which the travel agents gets the commission from the airlines. Now, in service tax, the requirement was that you have to once at the beginning of the year give an option to the department which option you are calling for this year, and you cannot withdraw in between. But in GST, there is no such a requirement, which means from transaction to transaction, from booking to booking, you can see which model you want to follow, which option you want to follow. But if you want to do it on transaction to transaction basis, why you will want to do it is to see in which option the tax liability is less. So the option in which tax liability is less, usme you will naturally want to go for that transaction with that option. लेकिन इसमें you will have to really see the complexity involved, because for one transaction you will be following one option, for the other transaction you will be following the other option. But in my opinion, it is not very difficult to do, because this is a simple Excel or formula also can work, or in any software simple logic you can put that every transaction can be evaluated on these two options, and it can tell you which is the option which is best suitable for this transaction. And you also need to remember that the ITC is available in both the cases. For the basic fare model also and for the commission model also, the full ITC is available to the travel agent. But one thing needs to be noted, that when booking is done, then normally travel agents takes advance from the customer. And because this is a service, so this in this case, the tax becomes payable on the receipt of the advance amount. But the ITC, when you can take, ITC can be taken by you only when the person travels, when that journey actually happens. At that time only you can say that I have, in terms of section 16, you have to comply with that you have received the services and you have the invoice. So in both the cases, invoice you will have, but the receipt of services you cannot evidence unless the flight takes place or that journey happens. This is place of supply in case of domestic travel. Place of supply is really very important in this travel and tour transactions, because it is quite different. It is not very straight simple. So we need to carefully look at the provisions of IGST Act and see that in what transaction or in what supply situation which provision of the place of supply will be applicable. So under section 12, if you see under IGST Act, जहाँ पे सर्विस प्रोवाइडर एंड रिसीवर दोनों अगर इंडिया में हैं तो सेक्शन 12 के अंडर आते हैं. सेक्शन 12 में सप्लाई, प्लेस ऑफ सप्लाई जो है, हाउ इट विल बी डिटरमिन्ड, दैट व्हेन द service recipient is in India and he is registered, then the place or the location of the service recipient is the place of supply. If the recipient means that customer is not registered, but his address is available on the record with the supplier, that means with the travel agent, then it will be the location of the service recipient. Here, in today's context, you will see one question will come in mind, that when you are doing ticket booking online, तो उसमें if you are giving mobile number and email address, whether that will amount to having available address with the supplier or not. So in my opinion, I think mobile number is something which is having the permanent or the address of the person who is having that mobile number. Similarly, on email ID is the address which is electronic address these days to communicate to somebody. So if these mobile number and email address is available, it can amount to having the address of the recipient on the records. So when the supplier and the service provider both are in India, then the location of the service provider will be the place of supply. But if the address of service recipient is not available, then what will be the place of supply? The location of service provider will become the place of supply. Let us understand this with the example. Let us assume that XYZ is a travel agent and he is located in Maharashtra. Now he books an air ticket for Mr. Ram of Pune for traveling from Bhopal to Chennai. तो भोपाल टू चेन्नई को जाने के लिए मिस्टर राम जो पूना में उसका लेटर से इज रजिस्टर्ड, उसका रजिस्टर्ड एड्रेस इज इन पुणे, देन इन दिस केस दो द फ्लाइट विल टेक ऑफ फ्रॉम भोपाल, but the place of supply will be Pune because the recipient is registered in India, and in that case place of supply will be the registered place of that recipient. And because Pune and Mumbai, let us say the travel agent is in Mumbai, they are in the same state, so travel agent on his commission which he is going to charge, he will charge CGST and SGST. This was when the travel agent is supplying the service based on the commission basis. But what will happen when the travel agent makes the supply as principal? So now for this, when he is making supply of as a principal, means he is issuing the ticket himself. So he has, you can say, bought the ticket from the airlines, and then he is issuing the ticket to the customer. So in that case, the place of supply will be the place where the customer or that recipient is going to board that aircraft or going to board that train. So that is the place of supply. Let us carry forward the earlier example, जिसमें travel agent XYZ जो है, let us say he is located and registered in Mumbai, and he books air ticket to Mr. Ram of Pune for traveling from Bhopal to Chennai. So in this case, though the flight will take from Bhopal, the place of supply will be Bhopal because he is boarding the flight from Bhopal and not from Pune. And therefore, in this case, the travel agent is going to charge IGST on his invoice for the sale of ticket. There, in the earlier situation, it was on the commission. The GST was charged on the commission, and there we determined the place of supply. But in this case, he is selling the ticket. So in this case, the place of supply will be from the place where that flight is going to take off. Now, this transaction was for the domestic travel, but this earlier two examples were of domestic travel, and this is for the international. Now, IGST Act में Section 12 becomes applicable when service provider and service recipient are in India. Section 13 जो है that becomes applicable जब सर्विस प्रोवाइडर या सर्विस रिसीवर में दोनों में से एक जो है वो आउटसाइड इंडिया है, तो उस केस में हाउ टू डिटरमिन द प्लेस ऑफ सप्लाई दैट इज मेंशन्ड इन सेक्शन 13. सेक्शन 13 में जनरल रूल है कि प्लेस ऑफ सप्लाई इज द लोकेशन ऑफ द रिसिपिएंट ऑफ सर्विस. इफ लोकेशन ऑफ द रिसिपिएंट ऑफ सर्विस इज नॉट नोन, then the location of the service provided will be the place of supply of goods or service. So this is like what it was in section 12. But here, in that case, both the supplier and the recipient were in the same country, that is India. And here, one of the either recipient or the supplier, one of them is outside India. So in that case, also as a general rule, the location of the service receiver will be the place of supply. But if address of the recipient is not available, then the place of the service provider will be the place of supply. Let us understand this with the example. A foreign traveler है and he contacts the travel agent in India, and he says that I want to book a flight from, say, Canada to India. Now, in this case, the location of the service recipient is in Canada, and thus the place of supply will be Canada. So, in this case, because one person is outside, service recipient is outside, so section 13 will get attracted, and the place of supply will be the place, the location of the service recipient. Like, because in the travel, airline travel, by air travel, normally the address of the person is available. So here the question of address of recipient not available on report will not normally arise. If the travel is from Mumbai to Canada, now you take a reverse case. अगर travel जो है, if it is from Mumbai to Canada and the service recipient is located in India, then place of supply will be the state in which he is located. So for an airline sale of tickets, the place of supply will be the place from where the aircraft take off. So this is exactly the same provision as far as the supply as a principle is concerned. So ये picture से let us try to understand how this model is working actually. Just let me take this. This is the Indian travel agent. He is based in Delhi, so his registered place of business is, let us say, Delhi. And there is a customer in Delhi, so he approaches the travel agent in Delhi, and he says that I want to book a ticket from Mumbai to Delhi. Okay. So now this, as we saw, the travel agent is going to get the service charges from customer, and he is also going to get a commission from airlines. So he is going to raise the two invoices. One he will raise on the customer, and one will raise the airline. And in both the cases, the supply will be as agent, because he is going to charge commission on this both the parties. So what he is in this case, because both the service provider and recipient are in India, the place of supply will be Delhi, and he is going to charge CGST and SGST. But as far as airline is concerned, he is going to charge IGST. Clear? Now you must have seen when the airlines issue the ticket, it also raises the tax invoice, but that tax invoice is raised in the name of the customer. So we must have practically seen apne company say, if some employee is going on travel, then you must have seen that in our 2A, you will see that the invoice of the airline is appearing, and in that also there is a GST. So although this amount is not paid by the customer to the airline, this is paid by the customer but through this travel agent. So travel agent, the ITC which customer will avail, one will be of this travel agent invoice and another will be on this airlines invoice. So one must see that both the ITCs are availed, and you have to have the invoice from the airline on record, and that journey should have taken place when you are taking the ITC. Now, what happens in case of the foreign customer? In case of the foreign customer, let us say customer is in Germany and he contacts a travel agent in Mumbai, and he says that I want to book a flight from Germany to Mumbai. So in this case, what will happen? He will get a commission from this customer. Travel agent in Mumbai, he will get a commission from customer in Germany. So he is going to raise an invoice on this customer who is in Germany. So section 13 will get attracted here, because in this case, service recipient is in outside India and the service provider is in India. And in that case, the place of supply will be the location of the service recipient, which is outside India. And therefore, when he raises the invoice for commission, he will not charge any GST. Okay. So this picture clarifies what provisions I spoke earlier in the earlier slides. Now these are same actually model, but here you see the tax which he is charging 18% on this, 18% on this. Here the airline will charge the tax GST to the customer, and customer will also be able to avail the ITC on his invoice as well as on his invoice, and travel agent can avail the ITC on the invoice which he raised on the commission which he got from the airlines. Okay, when we are talking of airline, it can be air, or it can be railways, or it can be bus. This was pure travel agent, which as I told in the beginning. Now let us look at the tour operators. But travel also I have mentioned here, because some of the travel agencies are also more or less acting as a tour operator. So how they are acting as a tour operator, let us look at this further in slides. First is, what is tour operator? Under GST, the definition of tour operator is given in the explanation in the rate notification, that is 11/2017 central tax, dated 28th of June 2017. So इसमें notification में the rate for the tour operator is mentioned, and in there the tour operator is also defined. It says tour operator means any person in the business of planning, scheduling, organizing, arranging tours, which may include arrangement for accommodation, sightseeing, or other similar services by any mode of transport and includes any person engaged in the business of operating tour. तो अगर आप देखोगे तो टूर ऑपरेटर का काम क्या है बेसिकली, किसी भी ट्रिप को, किसी भी टूर को विच कस्टमर वांट्स टू प्लान, शेड्यूल करना है उसको, उसको अरेंज करना है, उसके बाकी होटल के अरेंजमेंट, वीजा के अरेंजमेंट, साइट सीइंग के अरेंजमेंट, या और कोई रेलवे से ट्रैवल है तो रेलवे का अरेंजमेंट, अगर कार से ट्रैवल है किधर लोकल ट्रैवल तो टैक्सी का अरेंजमेंट, all this is you can say is the designing of the tour and managing of the tour which is done by the tour operator. And further it says that it includes any person engaged in the business of operating tour, and there can be a person who is only operating on these, not maybe designing the tours. He may be buying tour from somebody and then selling that tour itself. That's a service product, you know, as a service he is buying and selling. So एक टूर ऑपरेटर जो है वो डिजाइन करता है टूर को कि हाउ मैनी कितने दिन का टूर होगा, कहाँ से कहाँ होगा, कहाँ कहाँ जाएंगे, कौन कौन से होटल में ठहरेंगे, एंड देन फॉर द पर्पज ऑफ मार्केटिंग लेट अस से एक दूसरा टूर ऑपरेटर जिसका मार्केट में नेम एंड रीच बहुत अच्छा है, सो दिस ऑपरेटर में सेल इट टू दैट ऑपरेटर and then that operator also will be called as a tour operator. That is what is this definition under GST. अभी सिंपल इसमें देखो व्हाट इज टूर देन. अभी टूर तो जीएसटी लॉ में डिफाइन नहीं है, लेकिन अगर डिक्शनरी मीनिंग देखा जाए टूर का तो दिस मीन्स ए जर्नी फ्रॉम वन प्लेस टू अनदर irrespective of the distance between such places. So distance doesn't matter. It doesn't mean that it should be a long distance tour. It can be a short distance tour also, but it should have these features. There should be definitely transportation from one place to another place, which is called normally a journey. That should be involved. Okay. So tour operator क्या है उसका once meaning is clear to us. हम आगे ये देखेंगे इसके स्कोप में आता क्या है, करते क्या है ये टूर ऑपरेटर. ये भी एक एक्चुअली ये भी स्किल है, यू नो, दिस इज आल्सो अ स्किल लाइक इंजीनियर और अ डॉक्टर. दिस इज आल्सो नो लेस, दिस इज आल्सो स्किल हाउ टू डिजाइन एंड प्लान अ टूर व्हिच कैन सेल. यू कैन प्लान और डिजाइन अ टूर बट इट मस्ट सेल आल्सो टू द कस्टमर. So this is also some specific knowledge and skill it requires. So as if you, today we talk tour packages, what normally they involve cruise ka booking, airlines ka booking, train bus booking, then inbound tour भी हो सकता है, outbound tour भी हो सकता है. इसको हम देखेंगे inbound outbound क्या होता है in the next slides. Visa, transport, passport, foreign exchange, होटल का बुकिंग, कार रेंटल्स, इंश्योरेंस, इवन ऑल दैट, रेलवेज रिजर्वेशन, साइट सीइंग का रिजर्वेशन, वहां का टिकट, ऑल दिस इज एक्चुअली मैनेज्ड बाय द ऑपरेटर. सो अगर आप पिक्चोरियल फॉर्म में देखो तो टूर ऑपरेटर एटलीस्ट इतनी एजेंसीज के साथ काम करके वो टूर जो है वो डिजाइन एंड ऑर्गेनाइज करता है. अकोमोडेशन का प्रोविजन, एयरलाइंस का, साइट सीइंग का, क्रूज का, वीजा, करेंसी, फूड, कार रेंटल, बस या ट्रेन से अगर ट्रैवल है तो वो ऑल दिस इज डन बाय हिम. अभी अगर आपको थोड़ा सा और भी अपने हमको समझना चाहिए फ्रॉम द बिजनेस सेंस, इट इज नॉट ओनली द लॉ, बिकॉज द लॉ वी हैव टू you know understand with reference to the business. Without that it doesn't really makes a practical application of it. So tour operator में अगर हम देखेंगे तो क्या होता है कि for the customer, you know, suppose I want to go to Dubai. So मुझे अगर दुबई जाना है तो मुझे कितना नॉलेज है दुबई का, मुझे पूरा फाइंड आउट करना पड़ेगा कि कहाँ से टिकट मिलेगा, कौन सी एयरलाइंस की फ्लाइट कब जाती है, कितने की है, कहाँ दुबई में जाके कहाँ रहना है, दुबई में अगर कौन कौन सी चीजें हैं जो मेरे को साइट्स जो देखनी है, कौन से मेरे को वीजा कैसे मिलेगा, मेरे को पासपोर्ट अगर नहीं है तो कैसे मिलेगा, इंश्योरेंस करवाना है, सब अगर मेरे को अकेले करना पड़े तो मैं तो पता नहीं कितने दिन लग जाएंगे मेरे को प्लान करने में और सब कुछ फाइंड आउट करने में, बट फिर भी वो प्रॉपर नहीं होगा. सो वी गो टू अ स्पेशलिस्ट एंड टूर ऑपरेटर इज अ स्पेशलिस्ट पर्सन. पर तो एक किस्म से मेरे को सिर्फ उसको आजकल तो सिर्फ आप मेक माई ट्रिप की साइट पे जाओ या यात्रा की ट्रिप पे जाओ रेडीमेड वहां पे ऑलरेडी डिजाइंड पैकेजेस होती हैं. यू हैव टू जस्ट डू few clicks and take out your debit or credit card and make the payment. Rest of the thing वो आपको इवन घर से उठा के अगर लगेगा तो घर से उठा के आपको घर में वापस छोड़ देंगे फॉर दी आफ्टर दी फुल टूर. So this is because of the you know increasing you can say income of the people. People look for leisure travel or they look for the business travel plus leisure travel. So sometimes both are combined. तो उसमें जो है वो these tour operators play a very big role. ये एक आपको just to have a feel एक एग्जांपल एक मैंने टूर की वेबसाइट से लिया हुआ है. सारा किस किस दिन कहाँ कहाँ जाएगा, एवरीथिंग यू नो वी पीपल नो दैट हाउ इट हैपेंस. नाउ वी कम टू द रजिस्ट्रेशन. यहाँ पे सिंपल है टूर ऑपरेटर के केस में, बिकॉज दिस इज अ सर्विस. सो अगर फाइनेंशियल ईयर में टर्नओवर 20 लाख का है उससे ज्यादा तो रजिस्ट्रेशन कराना कंपल्सरी है, अदरवाइज नहीं. वो ये जो थ्रेशोल्ड लिमिट है वो स्पेशल कैटेगरी स्टेट्स यू नो विच आर दी स्पेशल कैटेगरी स्टेट्स, उसमें 10 लाख. जीएसटी रेट्स जो टूर इंडस्ट्री को एप्लीकेबल है वो है दी रेट नोटिफिकेशन में 11/2017 में जो अंडर सीरियल नंबर 23 जो दिया है जीएसटी रेट विच इज एप्लीकेबल फॉर द टूर ऑपरेटर. अभी होता क्या है, इसको एक थोड़ा सा पहले ये समझना पड़ेगा कि जैसे हम किसी वेबसाइट पे जाते हैं या किसी फिजिकली किसी टूर ऑपरेटर के पास जाते हैं और हम बोलते हैं कि आई वांट टू गो टू मुंबई, तो आपको वो सारा डिटेल देता है एंड देन ही गिव्स यू वन प्राइस व्हिच इज इंक्लूसिव ऑफ एवरीथिंग. ओके, दिस इज नोन एज द ग्रॉस वैल्यू यू कैन से. इवन जीएसटी भी उसमें इंक्लूड करके देते हैं. तो वो जो ग्रॉस अमाउंट एक अमाउंट जो है दैट इज चार्ज टू कस्टमर. उसमें होटल का अलग या एयरलाइन का अलग या रेल का अलग, ऐसे अलग अलग बिलिंग नहीं होती है. एक अमाउंट चार्ज होता है जो मैंने आपको पिछले इसमें दिखाया भी. यहाँ पे एक अमाउंट है 65,564. सो जो रेट नोटिफिकेशन में रेट मेंशन्ड है दैट इज आल्सो लाइक दिस, दैट से दैट जीएसटी विल बी 5% विद द रिस्ट्रिक्शन ऑन अवेलिंग आईटीसी. तो 5% जीएसटी रेट है विदाउट आईटीसी. तो जो टूर ऑपरेटर है वो आईटीसी नहीं ले पाएगा. उसको किस चीज के ऊपर आईटीसी लेना है, बिकॉज ही इज डूइंग द प्रिंसिपल टू प्रिंसिपल. तो होटल का जो उसने रूम बुक किया है, एयरलाइंस के जो उसने टिकट खरीदे है, उसके ऊपर जो जीएसटी पे कर रहा है, ही विल नॉट बी able to take the credit of ITC of the GST on that, and he will charge the 5% on the total gross value which he is charging to customer. उसमें लेकिन दो कंडीशंस उन्होंने दी हुई है which have to be reflected on the invoice. वो क्या कंडीशन है? Because accommodation and transportation is very important part of the tour. कई बार हो सकता है कस्टमर के पास पासपोर्ट ऑलरेडी हो, फॉरेन करेंसी हो, खुद लेना चाहता हो, तो नॉट नेसेसरली दैट एवरी सर्विस ही विल अवेल फ्रॉम द टूर ऑपरेटर. बट tour is not complete. We can't call the tour complete as far as GST is concerned unless accommodation and transportation is concerned to so as to apply GST rate of the 5%. Second thing which is to be mentioned is that the amount charged is the gross amount from charge from the customer for such tour. तो जैसे मैंने बोला वो 65,564 जो है दैट इज द वन अमाउंट विच इज चार्ज. तो 65,564 के ऊपर 5% जीएसटी चार्ज करेगा टूर ऑपरेटर एंड देयर विल नॉट बी एनी आईटीसी अवेलेबल टू हिम. नाउ द क्वेश्चन विल कम और कैन द टूर ऑपरेटर opt to pay 18% and avail ITC? Okay. Suppose किसी टूर ऑपरेटर को लगता है कि अगर if I am losing my ITC, all ITC and paying 5%, compared to if I go for an option, let us say 18% and avail ITC, then can I go for this option 18% with this ITC? The answer is no, because this option is not available in the notification. Because there in the rate notification there should be option available. It is not an automatic option. So in my opinion, because there is no option available, that is why the rate to be followed is only one rate, 5% without ITC. And ये जो TUI India Private Limited का advance ruling था दिल्ली का, in that also it has been mentioned and ruled that this option is not available for the tour operator. अभी एयरलाइन जब चार्ज करता है टूर ऑपरेटर के लिए, so what how does it happen? इकोनॉमी क्लास के लिए 5% जीएसटी चार्ज करती है एयरलाइंस एंड बिजनेस क्लास के लिए 12%. एज फार एज रेलवे इज कंसर्न्ड, अगर एसी टिकट है तो नॉन एसी टिकट है तो टैक्स फ्री है, और एयर कंडीशन क्लास के लिए अगर टिकट है तो 5% जीएसटी चार्ज करती है रेलवेज. Now come to the place of supply in respect of tour operating services. Let us first take the case of domestic tour. Let us say from Delhi somebody wants to go to Kanyakumari or Goa. Then how this place of supply will be determined in such a transaction, because here this travel agent, or sorry, the tour operator and the customer both are in India in the taxable territory. So section 12 of the IGST Act will apply. In this case, what is the general rule? General rule वही है उसका, सर्विस रिसीवर अगर रजिस्टर्ड है इंडिया में तो उसका लोकेशन ऑफ द सर्विस रिसीवर, अगर रजिस्टर्ड नहीं है लेकिन एड्रेस उसका अवेलेबल है तो भी लोकेशन ऑफ द सर्विस रिसीवर. लेकिन अगर उसका एड्रेस भी अवेलेबल नहीं है कस्टमर का जो सर्विस रिसिपिएंट है, तो द लोकेशन ऑफ द सर्विस प्रोवाइडर, जो सप्लायर है, जो टूर ऑपरेटर है, उसका जो बिजनेस प्लेस का location है, that will be the location. And with place of supply, what significance is this place of supply holds with respect to any transaction GST is basically to see whether he will charge CGST and SGST or he will charge IGST. But ये implication इतनी simple नहीं है. Implication इसकी ये होती है कि suppose let us say if we are a company and our employee goes to Delhi on a tour, on a business tour, not on this type of tour operator, but just on a business travel he goes, and in Delhi he stays in a hotel. Now when hotel raises the bill on the company, he is not raising on the individual employee, he is raising on the company because company is going to pay. So when he is raising the invoice in section 12 of IGST Act, the place of supply in relation to immovable property is the location of the immovable property. So the service provider जो है hotel, that is in Delhi, the hotel is in Delhi, then what is the hotelier going to charge? He will charge CGST and SGST. He will not charge IGST because the company is registered in Mumbai. So the implication which it has that मुंबई में वो दिल्ली वाला CGST और IGST का SGST का credit वो नहीं ले सकता, and that is where it it has a wider implication, and that is where the government also looks at whether the credit which is availed is correctly availed or not. So अगर किसी ने उसका credit ले लिया तो that is wrong, you cannot take that credit. Okay, then we are talking of place of supply. Place of supply in case of tour operators, then the one of the party, either the supplier of the service or the recipient of the service is out of India. Then what is the place of supply? As you know, section 13 will become applicable in this case. Now here we see what is the inbound tour. Inbound tour क्या होता है? Inbound tour means the person is coming to India from outside India. That is called inbound tour. And outbound tour means the person from India is going outside India. So that is called outbound. Now inbound tour के केस में अगर वो सेल टूर ऑपरेटर जो सेल कर रहा है वो प्रिंसिपल बेसिस के ऊपर कर रहा है, means he is not doing as agent. Okay, he is doing in his own name. That is called principal. But if he does in the some other person name and he takes commission from the tour operator, then over the your recipient of the service, then it is called commission basis. So it will have to see whether this transaction is entered by the tour operator as principal or whether it is entered by as a commission agent. Inbound case में क्या होगा? What will be the place of supply? Location of performance of service in India, which requires physical presence. The place of supply to be visited in India by the foreign tourist. So, under section 13, it is mentioned that the type of service in which the physical presence of the recipient is required, then the place of supply will be the place of that location of that place where the physical presence is required. So let us take an example: a foreign tourist who is based in Dubai. He wants to come to India on tour to Kashmir. So in this case, the person need for this is the service for which person needs to be physically present in Kashmir. Then only this service can be completed. So in this scenario, the place of supply is the place where his physical presence is required. So that is Kashmir. So the place of supply will become Kashmir, J&K. But the same transaction, if it is on commission basis, then in that case, the location of service provider becomes the place of supply. How it will become? Because in subsection 8 of section 13, it is given that where the person, the service provider is only acting as intermediary, जहाँ पे वो सिर्फ intermediary as an intermediary applicant. What is the intermediary? May he is involved only in arranging that supply between the recipient and the supplier. He himself is not doing anything. He is not selling the tour. He is only finding the buyer for the tour or the seller for the tour which customer is looking for. So his role is only to work as an intermediary. In the simple terms, वो एक broker की तरह काम कर रहा है. From the supplier, bringing supplier and buyer together. That's all. That's his job, and for that he gets a commission. So when the service recipient is outside India, and the tour operator who is in India, and the customer and the place to be visited is also in India, that means it is inbound tour. So in this case, the tour operator is doing what? He is only and only giving the intermediary service. I will explain it to you this further in a picture which you will see in the next slide. So what will happen in the case of the outbound tour? Outbound means person from India wants to go on tour outside India. So in that case, if the tour is sold on principal basis, then recipient or location of the recipient, if he is registered, that is the place of supply. And same general rule will become applicable if his location, if he is not registered but location is available on record, then location of the service recipient. But if location is also or address is not available on record, then location of the service provider will be the place of supply. But if he is operating on commission basis, then for the outbound tour, because in this case the person is in India, he is going out of India on tour. So tour operator is doing what? He is receiving only commission, and in this case the place of supply will be location of the Indian tour operator, that is provider of service. So this also you will be able to understand it better with the help of example and picture which I have made. From that, I think you will get a clear picture. And similarly, if outbound tour is sold to foreigner, then what happens? If some foreigner wants to come to India and the tour operator here sells the tour to him, then in that case, the place of receiver or receiver of service will be outside India, and that's why there will be no GST on that. Rather, it can be export if the other conditions with respect to the getting the payment in foreign exchange, if those are also satisfied, then it can also be export of service. So before I go further to this, before what I will do is first I will explain this place of supply. Inbound tour, person from outside India coming to India. So now let us look at this case. A person is in customer tourist is in Germany, and he contracts a Indian tour operator who is in Delhi, and he says that I want to go to Dharamshala, and that is in Himachal. He wants to go to Dharamshala. So what will be the place of supply? Now here he needs to be physically present in Dharamshala to complete the service. So the place of performance or place of physical presence will be the place of supply in this transaction. And in this case, the Indian tour operator is going to sell the package to him, full package as a principal, and that is why he has to pay the IGST at the rate of 5%. Now, sometime what happens? He Because he is in Delhi and the place of supply is in HP. So this is an interstate supply, so he is going to charge IGST to him. Okay, so it cannot be called export because here the place of supply is in India. For the export to be completed, the location of the service recipient and the place of supply both should be outside India. So here the place of supply in India, provider of services in India, so it will be interstate supply, IGST will be charged. Now, in some situations, what happen? He doesn't only go to Dharamshala. He also want to go to, let us say, Agra. He also want to go to Kashmir. So he goes to 3, 4 places. So in that, the provisions under Section 13 is that you have to, because he's going in 2, 3 states basically. So how he will raise one invoice to this customer? He cannot raise. He will have to raise. Let us say if he is going to 3 places, 3 states, then he will charge the. He will give the tax invoice for the 3 states. There is no provision actually, or there is no possibility to make one tax invoice where 3 place of supplies are involved. And as per this section, now you have to break up. Suppose this tour was for 2 lakh rupees. Now, if you want to raise 3 invoices for this, you will have to break the value of the supply. So, how you are going to break? This can be done. You can estimate it, or if it is pre-agreed. Suppose you are collecting separate charges. Dharamshala ka, let us say 1 lakh rupees, Kashmir ka 50,000, another Agra ka another 50,000. Then you can of course raise 3 invoices, one with 1 lakh 50,000, 50,000, 50,000. But if there is only one price agreed, then it is difficult. So in that case, you can have agreement or you can have understanding with the customers. This is the bifurcation you are doing for 2 lakh rupees, and accordingly you can raise the invoice. That is the only practical way available in to follow the rule. Sometimes the situation arises where there is a foreign tourist. Okay, so he doesn't know Indian tourist, Indian tour operator. उसको कुछ मालूम नहीं है who is the right Indian tour operator, who is reliable, who can handle it without any hassle. So what he does, he contacts his foreign tour operator, जिसको वो जानता है, and then he says कि I want to go to Dharamshala, so you please arrange a tour for me. तो ये टूर ऑपरेटर जो है इसको भी डायरेक्ट धर्मशाला का सब कुछ मालूम नहीं है. So what he does, he contacts another Indian tour operator who is, let us say, in Delhi, and he says, you see, this person wants to go to Dharamshala, so you now become a supplier to this. You raise directly invoice on him, but you give me my commission, because he has given this tour to him. Basically, he has not sold; he has only given him. He has sold this tour to him. So then, in that case, he will earn a commission. He says, you give me commission, and you then find the rest of the things you handle directly with the customer. So in this case, the tour operator is outside India, so place of supply will be outside India, and there will be no GST on this. But to this, the place of supply will be in Dharamshala, so then he is going to charge IGST 5%, which we discussed in the earlier scenario also. Now, let us take a case of outbound tour. In the case of outbound tour, There is an Indian tourist who is in Karnataka and Indian tour operator who is in Maharashtra. So he says that I want to visit Switzerland, but I want to own a package to Switzerland. So this Indian tour operator arranges for the package tour and raises the invoice on him for the full amount and charges 5% IGST because the place of supply will be Karnataka, supplier is in Maharashtra, so it will be IGST. Now the reverse situation can happen in the outbound too. That he contacts Indian tour operator, but he doesn't know much about the Switzerland planning of the tour. So he contacts foreign tour operator, and then he says same thing to him. He says, "You directly invoice this to Indian customer, okay, and you give me my commission." So then what he does, he raises the invoice on this foreign tour operator. But if you see in this case, which I wanted to explain you, the intermediary, now this Indian role of Indian tour operator is just an intermediary. He is not buying or selling any tour. He is just getting a commission, maybe from tourist also he will get, and from foreign tour operator he will get. But rest of the main transaction, principal to principal transaction is happening between the foreign tour operator and the Indian tourist. Okay. So in this case, the place of supply in the case of intermediary is the place of the service provider. So when he raises the commission invoice on him, he is going to charge CGST and SGST, not IGST. Okay. So hope it is clear to you now. In case of tour operator, input tax credit जो है, you have seen already 18% जहाँ पे लगेगा full ITC is available. जहाँ पे 5% लगेगा वहाँ पे कोई ITC available नहीं होगा. And जहाँ पे टूर ऑपरेटर जो है वो सेल करता है दूसरे टूर ऑपरेटर को, तो जो 5% पहले वाला टूर ऑपरेटर जीएसटी चार्ज करता है, वो सेकंड जो टूर ऑपरेटर जो बाय कर रहा है, he can get the ITC of this. Now I will go back to earlier part of it. जो टूर ऑपरेटर होते हैं, how they market the tour. They can directly advertise and supply to customer, or they can sell to another tour operator, or they can sell it through e-commerce website operator. तो नॉर्मली ये 3 चैनल होते हैं जिससे टूर ऑपरेटर जो सेल देयर पैकेजेस. सो डायरेक्ट सेल के इसमें क्या होता है, जैसे हमने ऑलरेडी देखा, कस्टमर है, टूर ऑपरेटर है, 5% चार्ज करेगा, और ये 2 कंडीशंस पूरी होनी चाहिए. उसमें अकोमोडेशन एंड ट्रांसपोर्टेशन मेंशन्ड है, इन्वॉल्व इंक्लूडेड, वो लिखा होना चाहिए इनवॉइस के ऊपर, एंड एक अमाउंट जो ग्रोस अमाउंट है उसके ऊपर 5% अप्लाई होना चाहिए. सेकंड होता है ही सेल्स टू अनदर टूर ऑपरेटर. So there is one tour operator, he charges 5% without ITC to him. Without ITC जो है, इसके लिए without ITC नहीं है, इसके लिए without ITC है. For him, because he is making further supply of tour operator, that means in the same line of business, so he can take the credit of this 5%, and then he will also charge 5% to customer, and he will bill it. Now the e-commerce operator के through जो sale होता है, उस केस में क्या होता है, e-commerce जो है under GST means this is a electronic platform like your Amazon or Make My Trip, or it can be Make My Trip is having different type of services. So it is not only the e-commerce operator, but they have their own tour packages also, which they make and sell. So in this case, when it is a supply done through e-commerce operator, then what he does, some customer who comes to e-commerce operator, he let us say books a tour here, and then he informs this tour operator. This tour operator, what he will do, he will raise an invoice of 5% without GST to customer, and then customer will make the payment to e-commerce operator. Now when e-commerce operator makes the payment back to tour operator, then he deducts 2 things out of it. One is his own commission he will deduct, and then GST on that will be 18%, and further he is going to deduct TCS at the rate of 1%. This TCS is not income tax TCS, but it is GST TDS. So GST TCS will be deducted by him from the tour operator. So, and the balance amount he will pay to him. So this TCS which is deducted from him, this is available to him because he has to file the return, GST return, and then the TCS which he has deducted when he files the return, then it appears in tour operators 2A, and then he can take the credit of that. It comes into electronic cash ledger. That means it comes back as a cash. What was deducted, it comes back to him as a cash, which he can use to make the payment of GST on his output liability. Okay, so this we already understood now into tax credit. Similarly, hotel bookings are done. The tour operators, they have tie up with the hotels. They buy rooms actually from the tour operator and then include it in their tour package. So as we saw, for the supply of hotel services, the place of supply is location of the hotel, and then hotel will always charge CGST and LGST. And these are the room rent and the GST rates applicable. So these are the slabs which have been made in the rate notification. 1,000 rupees tak per unit room rent hai, so there is no GST. 1,001 to 7,500 hai, then 12%, and 7,500 to 18, 7,500 and more, it is 18%. Then, as we saw, they also supply the service of visa or transport. They arrange for the customer. All the visa fees and passport fees, these are exempted, not liable to be taxed under GST. Charges collected from customer for such services are taxed at 18%. Lekin for doing the visa work or passport work, if the supplier of the tourist is charging separately for the service, then 18%. But otherwise, if it is included in the total package, which it will be normally, then 5% without GST is going to charge in the total invoice. And place of supply is normally the place of recipient of service. They have tie-up, and actually, in fact, they are insurance agents for various insurance companies. They do the travel insurance, baggage, mediclaim, accident, etc., and they earn the commission from the insurance companies. Okay, and the commission which they earn, the insurance company pays the GST under reverse charge. This tour operator doesn't have to pay. And place of supply in this case is the place of the recipient of the service. Similarly, car rental, rail, bus booking, all these are going by the general rule of place of supply. And if the separately commission is charged, then 18%. Let us say if he is a travel agent, but if it is a part of tour package, then it will be part of the overall price of the package. Similarly, these are the other activities which are arranged: tickets for museum, monuments. Some of the these museum, national park, wildlife sanctuary, tiger reserve, zoo, which are notified to be exempted actually under GST. So for them there is no GST. So the tour operator doesn't have to pay the GST. And services by way of admission to other parks and water parks, joy rides, or other activities will be 18%. Porter services, guide services, all are taxed at 18%. Foreign currency, under the CGST rule 32(2)A, I am not going to elaborate the methods which are actually prescribed for determining the value of supply, because then it will become difficult to cover in this period, in this time. But the whatever value comes on that 18%, whatever the difference exchange comes, in that 18% will be the GST rate will be applicable. Now, you must have seen, as we are seeing, that this traditional offline travel agent model of business and tour packages model of business is actually moving substantially on the online platforms. Like we have Make My Trip, or we have Yatra, and so many other things. I'm just naming few which are coming to my mind. How they work actually? They supply these services tour operators or tour services, or you can say travel services, to customers which are both B2B and B2C. You will imagine that even EMIs are offered for the tour packages. So how much convenient and quicker they have made. You can see that their purchasing power is very high, because they do the buying on on a wholesale. They will book some 30 rooms in a hotel, or they will buy some 50 tickets. So they can negotiate very well with these suppliers, and that is where they are actually able to offer the discounts also on the prices. So, and then all this benefit comes to customer. On just when you are traveling on a car, in a car, you can book a tour package. You don't have to go anywhere. So this is where the market is moving. The marketplace is moving towards online. So I told you how these travel portals work. They also work as e-commerce portal, because if some hotel hosts his hotel in the website, lists his hotel in the website, or some other service provider list car rental, they list on that, then they also can provide as a e-commerce operator services. They have their own packages also, which they, in that case, they will not, we cannot say that this is an e-commerce portal. Then this is their own portal. You can say this is their own website, and in that case, TCS will not be applicable. So now let us look at the key points before we close this topic. In GST on travel and tour operator services, whatever we have gone through till now, what are the most important point is that it matters. First of all, most important is whether the supply is made principal, as a principal, or as an agent, in the capacity of a principal or in the capacity of agent. That makes a difference in the applicability of the rate or determination of the place of supply. Place of supply plays a very significant role, as you must have seen in this industry. Business models are now moving to, or rather substantially already moved to, online portals. 5% is the GST rate, which is charged on principal basis, and on the commission basis 18% with ITC. I always say this part is when you are entering into a transaction, you know why you are entering, what treatment you are giving, what position, tax position you are taking, you are clear. But after 2 years, 1 year, when the question comes from the department, then the reports are not available or not easily available. So it is very important to document whatever treatment you are doing, whatever process you are following, and keep the supporting reports in a very orderly and retrievable manner. And finally, my pet, if you think compliance is costly, try non-compliance. So people actually, think that by not complying, it's very easy to say, but I don't think in the long term that holds true. It is better to be complied, and you know that today the way things are moving, it is not that you have to give it to some expert and then he will file the return. Those days are gone. Your accounting system should be there, which should be designed in such a manner that it ensures the compliance, and it also ensures that the benefits which are available are availed. So now it is the time for question answers. Arunji, hello. Hello.
Yes, sir. Sir, we have one question, and I request all the participants to ask whatever question they want to ask. But right now, we are having one question. I am showing it on the screen.
Yes. If single Jan Agro consultant, okay. If a single invoice is issued for flight ticket, fare, and commission by travel agent, but party has deducted the TDS on the whole amount while making payment, and now there is a mismatch in 26 AS and GST income. Correct. So there will be mismatch in this case. This TDS which you are talking is the income tax TDS. So the TDS is deducted on the payment which is made. Okay. So if the total payment in the bill made is 10,000 rupees, then the TDS is deducted under income tax on 10,000 rupees. But the GST would be applicable on this part of the supply in that GST in that invoice on which GST is applicable. So there will be obvious difference between 26 AS and the GST return, and which you will have to show is at a part of reconciliation.
Yes.
Okay, next. Is there any other question?
Uh, there is no more question as of now, but I request all the participants to please ask the question. If you have any query regarding to today's topic, please raise that question or query. Sir, there is always been a time lag between uh, the live session that goes on to YouTube, about
Okay.
5 to 6 seconds. So maybe our message will convey after 5 to 6 seconds or say 10 seconds, and after that we will get the question.
Yeah, we will wait for a few minutes, and
Yeah,
if there are questions coming up, we will want to address them.
yeah, sure, sir.
Okay, so I think there are right now no more questions. So
Yes, sir.
if the participants have, yeah,
I also feeling the same that participants are not having any more questions. So I request all the participants to give vote of thanks and their feedback about today's lecture. Mr. Mahendra Prajapati is saying, thank you, sir, for enlightening us with your knowledge. I would request all the participants to please share their feedback for today's webinar. Personally, I feel very nice, sir, especially the part where you have explained the tour operator thing and the place of supply where the person who is providing the services of booking of a ticket and the supplier is also in the same state or in India or outside India. All these scenarios were covered in the single question, and that was very nice. And I request all the participants to please share their feedback.
and, and if they have any question, they can also put in the messages so it can be answered later on.
Yeah, this video will be uploaded on our YouTube channel, and you can ask the question in the comment box later on also if you find any question laterly. So those questions will be addressed.
So, okay, I want to thank the all the participants and audience online. Thank you very much for your time. And Pooja ji and Arun ji, thank you very much for this session and giving me an opportunity. So, thank you so much and have a nice evening.
Thank you, sir. Thank you from the team educating for accepting our invitation and giving us all the enlightenment and throwing some more light on this tour and travel agent sector, because this is one of the sector which is not discussed much as compared to other sector. So lots of ambiguity and doubts are here in this sector, whoever are doing business in this sector. Thank you so much. Good evening.
Thank you very much.